Hi, my name is Ashanti Didaway, and today I will be discussing Black voters and the media, specifically ways in which the media blames Black voters when progressive candidates do not win. This is a topic that I've been discussing with coworkers and friends and classmates and family members for years, and I wanted to discuss it for the class. I've noticed this recently with the Kamala Harris campaign for president for 2020. Immediately after she suspended her account, there was a barrage of articles being written about how Black voters had failed Kamala Harris. And I, as a Black woman, am very angered by this phenomenon of blaming Black voters for when progressive candidates don't win. I think that there should be more of a focus on a candidate's policies and specifically the racial policies more than there should be a focus on Black voters and why Black voters can't get it together and just vote in whoever the Democratic establishment wants them to vote for. So, according to Larson, racist language is, from a dialogical perspective, racist language is ethically suspect because it reflects a superior, exploitative, inhumane attitude toward others, thus denying equal opportunity of self fulfillment for some people. So basically, when the media tries to put a lot of pressure on Black voters to vote for progressive candidates, they often ignore that candidates' policies, particularly their policies concerning racial issues and issues that would actually pertain to Black voters. Um, One example of this is exemplified in a piece that was written by David Cantonese, and it's called Can Bernie Sanders Bet on Black Voters? This piece talks about Black voters' responsibility of supporting Bernie Sanders, who, for those of you who don't know, is a progressive candidate who attempted to run for president in 2016, but was beat to the nomination by Hillary Clinton, and is currently trying to run again in 2020. Um, he is believed to be a progressive candidate that could beat Donald Trump, who is the enemy of most progressives. But what the piece highlights is how Black voters' wants and needs as far as support for a candidate goes are often ignored or pushed aside for the greater good of all. So basically, Black voters are encouraged to ignore their own feelings about a candidate and elect that candidate because it's supposedly good for everyone. um, it's been proven that that's not always true when it comes to candidates. In fact, there are candidates who have used Black votes and then have turned around and not done much for Black people. Looking at you, Barack Obama. Then I go on to the Teresa Berenson piece. In this piece, Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders alleged that the reason why Hillary Clinton was polling so well in 2016 with Black voters is because she had a connection to Barack Obama, who was the first African American president. And while it's true that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and served under Mr. Obama, that actually is a terrible reason to attribute her popularity with Black voters because, first, it makes the assumption that every Black voter was cool with Barack Obama and agreed with his policies, which is not true. And it also states that, or asserts that all you have to do is have a connection to a Black candidate or a Black person, and other Black people will follow you, which asserts that all Black people think the same and believe the same way about things, which is not true. Um, it goes back to the dehumanization that Larson talks about and the denying of self-fulfillment. Bernie Sanders believed that he would be a better candidate for Black people, but a lot of Black people didn't feel that way. So they voted for Clinton. And that's our right as a people to vote for whoever we feel is going to be the best candidate for us. It never occurred to Bernie Sanders that maybe Black people liked Hillary Clinton's policies more, which is why she was more popular with Black people than he was. Um, my last piece that I used was the Herndon piece, and it speaks to expectations of Black voters going into 2020. The piece defies the definition of racist language in the Larson test by empowering Black voters by allowing them to voice their own opinions about what they would like to see in a candidate and eventually a president. Um, Black people have the right, just like anybody else, to vote for who they want to vote for. The person that aligns most with their values and their viewpoints, and there shouldn't be a pressure from the Democratic Party to vote for who they want Black people to vote for, but who Black people believe would be best for them. So, in conclusion, I do believe that the media uses racist narratives to blame Black voters for the failure of candidates to win office. Um, there are challenges that Black people face all the time in getting their candidates backed and on the voting stage. If you even look at the 2020 election, it's shaping up to be a very white election. The only person of color who currently qualifies for the debate here coming up soon in December is Andrew Yang, and he was polling with about 2%. So he is at the bottom of the totem pole. The top three candidates currently within the Democratic Party who are vying for the nomination are Joseph Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, and all three of them are white. Um, so, Black people, in conclusion, I believe that Black people have the right to have their voices heard and deserve to have candidates who create policies and platforms that benefit them. I will be making my voice heard at the polls next November, and I will be voting for the candidate who I believe will enrich the lives of my folks. Um, and I really do want a better world for everyone, the same way that I believe a lot of Black people want a better world for everyone, but we also would like a candidate that focuses on our issues. And I believe that until the Democratic Party kind of realizes that and gets to the point where they can accept that Black people's voices matter, we're going to continue to have the issues that we have within the Democratic Party, where they are struggling to get their candidates elected. And we will continue to have Republican presidents, especially if Republican presidents are trying to reach out to Black voters more than Democratic presidents are. Donald Trump, for example, has made a vested interest in trying to reach Black folks. And that is possibly going to turn a lot of Black people in the future towards him if the candidates and the Democratic Party um, do not get themselves together and do not realize that Black people deserve to have a voice. And we are not a group of people that should just be used when it's time to vote and then ignored. So thank you for listening to my presentation today. I will have links to all my articles as well as some other resources. Have a good day.